Am I the asshole for wanting a stranger in the delivery room and not my husband? I found out 3 months ago I'm pregnant and my husband was not happy. He doesn't want me to not have the child, but he's been really mean and distant since we learned we are expecting. He works a lot and I'm used to being on my own most of the day, and with my job I'm often alone too, so I don't think I've been needy, but I have felt extra alone the last few months. I have reached out to a friend I met online a lot and she has been a really great support, but she lives in another country. After another awful conversation with my husband where I was crying because he said he wouldn't come with me to any ultrasounds and didn't care about the pregnancy part, because it doesn't concern him, my online friend did something incredibly generous. She paid for me to have a doula, who is essentially a non-medical support person regarding birth. She doesn't do any doctor stuff, but she is a mental support for me and someone I can text anytime throughout the pregnancy, and I can even have her at the birth if I want to help support me. Both of my parents have passed, so this was such a sweet gesture. I met her today and she is just such a warm, sweet, almost motherly figure. I really like her and she made me feel so much better about all of my worries and fears. She said she would come with me to the ultrasounds if I felt I need someone, and I felt instant relief. In my area we are currently only allowed one person as a support during delivery. I hope it changes by my due date, but if it doesn't I think I want to ask her to be there instead of my husband. I didn't think he would care as he said he didn't want to be involved in most things, but when I mentioned to him that maybe this person could be with me for delivery he got upset and said no. His brother was picking him up and he told his brother what I said, and his brother said I was a real piece of work and it would be an asshole move to not let my husband meet his son first. We don't know if we are having a son yet though. So I wonder if we have a daughter, if maybe he won't be as upset I want someone else there. My friend who hired the doula said I should do whatever I need to, but she doesn't fully understand because her husband is really sweet and would do literally anything for her, which isn't really the norm, but she doesn't know that. My other friend said it would be wrong to let someone besides my husband be in the delivery room unless it was family, but I don't have any close family. AITA? Not the asshole for letting a doula in the delivery room instead of your husband. Why WBTA if you actually let this man raise a baby? I think your friend's husband is more common than you think, and you have an opportunity right now to change the trajectory of this kid's life. I'm not saying he shouldn't be involved at all, but you should definitely think twice about this relationship. Not the asshole, but do you realize that a husband that is very sweet and would do anything for his wife is actually normal? You make it sound like something out of fiction. A husband refusing to support his wife during pregnancy, being so cold and unkind to her during this huge life moment is not normal. It sounds like you're in an emotionally toxic and abusive relationship and don't even realize. Because her husband is really sweet and would do literally anything for her, which isn't really the norm, but she doesn't know that, you are wrong. Must husbands actually like their wives and help them through things like pregnancy? I'm sorry your husband is shitty and has you convinced he's the best you're gonna get. Edit. Fix some errors. Not the asshole. Hun. Why are you married to this man? You sound scared of him. He sounds horrid to you. Not the asshole. I wouldn't even bring it up with him. He doesn't want to do pregnancy stuff with you. That 100% includes delivery. Have the doula come. I hope he's not going to be involved in raising your kid. Not the asshole. I think you should keep the friend and the doula. But start considering if you want your husband in your life. Why on earth would you want that man who has been so cruel to you with you at a time that you're so vulnerable instead of the woman who actually been supportive of you? Also, I hate to break this to you. Your friend's husband is the norm and not yours. Your husband is emotionally abusive. I don't understand why you're with this guy. Does he want a child? Do you want to raise a child with him? Your husband doesn't sound supportive at all. He sounds mean and awful, and the doula does sound kind and caring. Not the asshole. You deserve to be supported and feel safe during this experience. You get to choose the person who can give you that. Not the asshole, and your husband seems scary. His behavior indicates that he only sees you as a means to a son. My guess is that as soon as the baby is born, if it's a boy he is going to dismiss you entirely, and if it's a girl he's going to dismiss both of you. He may want this baby, as you said, but the fact that he doesn't care about your comfort or mental health during your pregnancy shows pretty clearly that he doesn't want to truly be a supportive father or husband. And the fact that him and his brother are already counting on it being a boy just screams toxic masculinity. Am I the asshole for inviting my mom to see my week-old son? Hi, I am M34. My wife, F30, recently gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. He is the first kid in many years in my family and everyone was really excited about his birth, especially my mother. She wanted to be there in the delivery room with us but my wife said no, so I respected her wishes. I said she can meet him when we get home and my wife agreed. Well, there were some complications in the birth and my wife was clearly exhausted. In her exhaustion she told me that maybe my mother waiting at the house isn't a good idea and can I ask her to come after couple of weeks. I was shocked and hurt. My mother loves my wife and here my wife was trying to intentionally hurt my mother. But seeing her in pain I couldn't say no and called my mother. She was very upset. Well, a week goes by without any events. I asked my wife again and again when can my mom come but she told me to wait. Yesterday my wife went to a doctor's appointment and I was in charge of taking care of my son. Suddenly I got an idea and called my mother who lives nearby. She came and met my son. The happiness that I saw on her face was amazing. It was an emotional moment for me when she held him for the first time. Well, she was just getting ready to leave but then my wife arrived. She got very angry very fast. She didn't say anything to my mother but I could see in her face that there was some rant coming. My mother left and my wife exploded. I have never seen her this angry. She told me if she didn't even invite her own mother then I should have understood that there was a reason. She was especially upset about me doing this behind her back. I said I am sorry multiple times but she is still angry. I slept in the guest room yesterday. I don't think I did anything a good son wouldn't do but I do feel bad about hurting my wife. Am I the asshole? Your baby's umbilical cord was cut before yours. Of course, you are the asshole. Get your priorities in order, man. ETA. Y'all are hella awesome. Thank you for all the awards, 2 hearts. Edit. Thanks for the award. You are the asshole. Your wife was exhausted, in pain, and you think she's not having visitors because she's trying to intentionally hurt your mother. This has to be the most ridiculous and selfish crap I've read all day. You've gone and broken her trust. Now she's in pain and angry. Not once did you think of her. It's just me. What a disappointment you are. You are the asshole. Since you framed it that your wife, who just gave birth with complications and was in pain, was somehow intentionally hurting your mommy, that did it for me. In case you missed it, you are the asshole. Supersize. My mother loves my wife and here my wife was trying to intentionally hurt my mother. WTF is this? WTF is wrong with you? Your wife went through a traumatic birth and isn't seeing her own family. This isn't about your wife trying to hurt anyone, including you. It's about her recovery and the baby's health. You're not a good son either since you set your mom up for failure. Be better. You are the asshole. Dude, what? You are the asshole. Your wife just brought a whole entire human into existence. She's exhausted. Her body feels weird as fuck. She's in pain. She had a traumatic birth. Not to mention she just experienced childbirth for the first time. That's a scary fucking thing. She was not intentionally trying to hurt your mother. You giant mama's boy. She didn't even invite her own mother over. You weren't being a good son, just a bad husband. Your wife is the mother of your child and you need to have her back above all. Edit. Thank you for the awards. Info. Did you stop to think that maybe your wife wanted to be there when your mom met her grandchild? Did you stop to think maybe that's why she's upset? Because you rushed it, and did it behind her back? She just gave birth, isn't up for visitors, and wanted you to wait to have anyone over, but you did it anyway. So, let's get this straight. Your wife had a difficult birth and asks for a few weeks to recover before having guests over, because hosting people is exhausting even when you haven't just shoved a whole human out of your body. And you took this as her trying to be deliberately insulting? And you went behind her back just to please your mom? You have an obligation to your wife's health right now, not your mother's unreasonable wants. Huge, you are the asshole, you and your mom. Your poor wife. You are the asshole. My God. How could you witness your wife going through the most painful thing she has ever experienced, know that there were complications and still go against her wishes? I swear some men just absolutely fucking bamboozle me with their sheer lack of compassion, understanding and logic. Am I the asshole for ruining my mom's first, and possibly last, time as a grandma? My mom has been getting increasingly upset as I'm nearing the end of my pregnancy and even my dad now says I'm being an asshole for making her sad, so am I the asshole? My mom usually takes a few vacations a year with her friends and then another few with my dad. She didn't want to miss any, so we had planned when she would see me around those, including a buffer because I take anti-rejection medication and am an organ recipient. The rules my husband and I had in place was 3 weeks between her coming back from a trip and seeing us, because typically when she gets home from traveling she spends the initial week home visiting her friends and always throw herself a «bon return» party. Our rules for after our baby is born is 3 months no visitors, which some people think is extreme, but it's what I need to feel comfortable. Unfortunately, she's only been able to make one of our planned visits about 4 months ago because she had other surprises and trips she wanted to take. She was also upset because we decided not to find out the gender and her friends threw her a «grandma shower», and were all upset they didn't know what clothes to buy. My husband and I live in an apartment, so we don't have a ton of space for extra stuff, and we had specifically asked people not to get us clothes or linens, but when I asked her to tell her friends that, she said it would be rude. She called me over the weekend and asked to come stay this week, but I said no as I'm busy this week, and it was very last minute and she just got home from her friend's 65th birthday blowout bash last weekend. She blew up at me sobbing for ruining this experience for her. She said I made her party awkward by being weird about the gender. She said she's upset she will never have felt the baby kick. I don't like being touched though, so even if she had made her planned trips I don't think she would have. She's upset she didn't get to take any candid pregnancy pictures of me, another thing I personally wouldn't have liked. We did a bump shoot and that was even more than I ever like to be on camera, frankly. And she is upset she didn't have any say in or get to help with the nursery. I thought she was being really overbearing and blaming me for choices she made, and tried to explain that, but she just kept saying I was purposely trying to cut her out and I was succeeding in making her not want to meet the baby at all, which isn't my intention. My dad usually agrees with me when she is being like this, but he is upset with me too and says this is different because it isn't about her, it's about her relationship with her grandchild. I'm very torn because I know lots of people want their mothers around, and it's not that I don't, it's just she does cause me stress, and the one thing that could minimize the stress, sticking to our schedule, she didn't do. Am I the asshole? Bahahaha. Your mother is a child. She needs tons of vacations and tons of input on her grandchild but won't compromise. She has a child who has had an organ transplant and is pregnant, and instead of being supportive is stressing her out, making everything about herself while also being extremely unreasonable. Not the asshole. Your mom is a piece of work. Not the asshole. Your pregnancy isn't about your mom becoming a grandma. It is about you and the baby. Whatever you and the baby need to be safe and sane should be accepted with no questions asked. My dad usually agrees with me when she is being like this, but he is upset with me too and says this is different because it isn't about her, it's about her relationship with her grandchild. Nope, it's absolutely about her. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that she doesn't understand what immunocompromised means. Now is the time to set the boundaries with your mom. I doubt this is going to get better. As for your father's comment about her relationship with her grandchild, a just-born baby knows nothing about anything other than the basics. Eating, sleeping, pooping, repeat. The relationship doesn't really start for a while. Congratulations, by the way. Updated to add not the asshole in a big way. Not the asshole, and I know a lot of grandmas, not one of them had a grandma shower. Not the asshole. So you mother feels her trips are more important than you living. Like she actually believes she gets to expose an organ recipient patient and kill her, just so she can what? Take some photos? Am I in some Twilight Zone? Does you mother want you dead? Like seriously. This is so effed up. Please keep yourself and your bub safe. May you have a happy and safe pregnancy and birth and a wonderful time with your kid. ETA. For people who think OP's rules are a bit extreme, even a simple common cold can turn into pneumonia with high morbidity and mortality in the immunocompromised. This is not even including the global panini going on right now. It's not even being paranoid. OP is being perfectly cautious. Stay safe, OP. A grandma shower? I can smell the entitlement. Not the asshole. You stick to your guns. You are just trying to protect yours and the baby's health. Am I the asshole for telling my son's mom he's not her replacement child? Bit of a messy backstory. My son Mason is 7. When me, 33M, and his biological mom were casually dating, she never once mentioned being married. I found out myself and decided to reveal this to her husband after getting his info. They separated, then we found out she was pregnant. After my son was born and we knew I was the father, she didn't want anything to do with him. Neither her nor her husband wanted any sort of involvement. Only reason he didn't go to an adoption agency is because I wanted him with me. She said he was a mistake and involving him in her family's life would hurt them when she's rather they work on their marriage and move on from this. So the only time she's ever been around him was the day he was born. I never asked for child support because I didn't need her money. It doesn't matter anyways because when my wife and I got married 4 years ago, she signed away her parental rights so Mason could be legally adopted by my wife. Her and I haven't kept any contact. Only know from my mom because she's a huge snoop that her eldest son, IDK how old but he was probably 12 or maybe older, passed away. Now she's been calling about wanting to meet Mason but we, wife and I, agreed that no, she's not allowed around our lives. Our son is young, he knows that while mom isn't his biological mom she's still his mommy and we don't need to confuse his life by having her in it. Even more when she's been talking about having him come over to her and her husband's house. That was a hard no for me. When we spoke I made sure she knew her only chance to see him will be once he's older and can make that decision on his own. If he even wants to see her. It hasn't been enough for her. She's tried contacting my mom, my wife, calling me at work to please give her a chance. She claims after what they went through with her oldest she wants to make up for time with him. After she brought that up, that's when I told her my son is not a replacement for the child she lost and if the only reason she wants to be in his life now is because she and her husband lost their child then it's less of a reason we want either of them around. Now I'm so cruel for making this about her other son, and for daring to think that's the reason why. Even her husband has tried reaching out to say I'm so wrong for not letting her see my son and claiming she's trying to replace their child with him. My mom agrees it's too far like I'm rubbing salt in the wound when I'm already keeping my son from her. It's just the way I see it because she needs to understand my son isn't her child nor is he a replacement and I doubt she would be here right now if they hadn't lost theirs. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I might contact a lawyer to ensure everything is legal and can be documented appropriately if she continues contacting your family. Contact a lawyer immediately. She threw away her son like he was nothing and then signed away her parental rights. Now that her circumstances have changed, she's harassing your family and crying foul. While her situation is heartbreaking, it doesn't give her the right to disrupt your son's life. Talk with your attorney to work out your legal options and then sit down with your wife to discuss what you think is best for your son. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You don't know what you have until it's gone. She could have had contact with your son and maintained some sort of relationship but she chose to cut him out. Do what's best for him and I would agree with you, he can make that decision when he's older. No lie, you might want to inform the school about her wanting to be around your son. If she's this desperate she may try to pull something. Good luck with everything and not the asshole. Not the asshole. She signed away her rights. Protect your child. If needed take legal action to tell her to leave you and your family alone. Not the asshole keep a record of all of the calls and consider a no-contact restraining order. She signed away her rights years ago. She doesn't get to just change her mind. Not the asshole. You're protecting your son from this woman. It's not that I think she'd intentionally harm him but she's going to come with a lot of baggage and clearly isn't in a place to navigate this introduction with healthy boundaries. She's in a lot of pain and I can't imagine what that kind of grief would do to someone but it's clear that this new mission she's on is about her and not about the best interests of your son. You're doing the right thing. She needs to see a therapist, not your son. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She's not the mom. Consult with a lawyer immediately and keep records of her and her husband trying to contact you. It's terrible that this woman lost her son but that gives her no right to try take yours and your wives'.